Lust is a demon cultivated across the homes of many people in the world. We think of it as a taboo topic, something that is not to be discussed, something that few people struggle with. But we know this is not the case. For the number of people you know who have experienced sexual abuse, perhaps even the number of people you know who have struggled with sexual addictions. This is not a new thing. Even before the invention of pornography, lust was rampant. It took forms that were more real pictures you could hold in your hand, real people you could see. But it has always been an issue that plagues humanity. We like to think of ourselves as pure beings, in a sense. After coming to the worldview as described in Christianity, many people come to believe that the Bible is their only refuge. It is the only answer for the things that ail them, and as such, they stop seeking deeper levels of the things that they do struggle with. But we as humans are rarely so simple as that. And in the duality that is us, we can struggle with lust, and it can be from Satan himself. But there can be a deeper reason. There can be something that we can figure out that, while it may not solve the issue, it can shed light on why it might be done. Sexual addictions are thought of as distraction, a coping mechanism, stress relief, and always a sin from a Christian worldview. But in this, there is always a deeper reason. Something that we have neglected because we do not want to see it. As we live here on this earth, we are surrounded by beauty every day, but many of us never get to experience it in its entirety, even though we walk these streets every day, even though flowers like this can be seen in places across the world, and sights even prettier than this. There is not a single person who has not been exposed to the beauty that is God's earth. But there are many people who have not truly seen it, and if they have, perhaps not for some time. One thing someone realizes as they grow stronger, as they grow harder, is that beauty is all around us. Any situation is what you make of it. And this is obvious. It comes across as the most blatantly obvious advice. It comes across as shallow. But at a deeper level, it holds a meaning when it comes to lust. Because if you cannot see the beauty in the world, and you run to lust, what is it, if not your soul, crying out for you to tend to it? We as humans have the ability to worship, to witness, and to enjoy the beauty of the earth God created for us. But this is not something that is always unlocked to us. It is not something that we can always see. We fall into these traps of sin, and we think that it is for a worldly reason. We think that it is because we are stressed. It is because we are addicted. But addiction is a condition of a coping mind. Addiction is a condition of a broken mind. But the promise that God made to us is that we can never truly be broken. We can never truly fall in a way wherein we can't get back up again. And because of this, we cannot say that we have this problem, that we are addicted, because there is always a way out. And it's easy enough to see this for other topics. It's easy enough to see that when we enter a tough situation, when our finances aren't the best, for example, that we can get out of it, that we may pray and ask God for a blessing, and He may deliver. But lust is rarely thought of this way, and I'd encourage you to ask why. Because what we are is much more complex than angels and demons and God. What we are has more depth to it than the root cause of everything that ails us. Lust is your soul crying out. Perhaps, if you were to live in the way that you wish to, lust would not ail you. And you say to yourself, this means I must make different decisions. I must become stronger. I must resist temptation. But none of these are true. Because what must change is you must start caring for yourself. And it sounds like a selfish thing at first. We have all these goals in our life, and especially with lust in the picture, we feel like we are not meeting them. We want to strive to meet them, to fulfill God's wish for us, for prosperity on the earth that He created for us. But lust isn't like these things. It is your soul crying out. And ask yourself this: would God rather you maintain your quarterly schedule of meeting goals that you have set for yourself? Or would He rather that you love and appreciate the beauty that He created in this world for you? I know the answer for myself. I know that I must take the time to slow down. Even if I don't meet my goals, even if I could not have produced a video today, something that I'm striving to do every week, it would be worth it if indeed I could become closer to myself. Becoming closer to yourself is not a selfish act, because when you become closer to yourself, when you care for yourself, a desire for God comes naturally afterwards. Notice this in yourself. All periods of health are usually accompanied by periods of less sin, perhaps never no sin, for we are fallen, we are always sinning. But in terms of big things like lust, you must consider when these have become lesser problems. And how could you replicate those conditions? It is not enough to say, I will make a better decision, because there is always a deeper cause. God works in mysterious ways, but Satan does as well, and he tricks you into thinking that you are at fault. But when God says that sin is not our battle to fight, He doesn't mean it in the sense that there's nothing for us to do, that we can just sit here and our problems will all be gone. He means it in the sense that we must pray and trust Him. Self-love is perhaps the deepest version of prayer. For when we are in contact with ourselves, we are creations of God, and so too we are in contact with God. And this is the path towards which lust is defeated. It is the path towards which all things grow. For worshiping God is not a simple external act. It is not an act that can be reduced down to mere words. I cannot show you the path that will guide you towards your salvation. But what I can say is that you must love yourself as God loves you. And if you can do this, then nothing will stand in your way. Thank you for watching.